Welcome back to Cryptid Zoo. 4 weeks. Man, that is a long gap. First, I'd like to apologize for the long wait for episode 3 and 4. We have them. I'm not going to make any excuses. I have been relatively swamped with work, and as such, we are going to make it up to you by releasing the next 3 episodes pretty much back to back. So there should be pretty much no wait on that department. Also, a few announcements before we begin. Although we've been late on the YouTube front, the Spotify front has been relatively up to date. So if you don't see an episode from YouTube within 2 weeks, check Spotify. We usually have them up there. And while you're there, please leave us a good 5-star review. I'm begging. It helps us in the algorithm. Trust me, it does. And if you like what we do here, leave a comment. It's always appreciated and it really helps us. So lastly, a huge thank you to everyone who's been watching this podcast. We've been enjoying putting it on. It's a lot of fun, and special thank you to Lord Aaron J. We see your comments and we appreciate them. Big things are planned in the future, so we appreciate your patronage or support or whatever you want to call it. But much love from the Cryptid crew. Anyways, I've rambled on long enough. Please enjoy the episode I've deprived you for. That's right, it's my fault, not anyone else's. Punish me. We've started with some popular ones, semi-popular ones. Lizardman's a little up and down, but now we are going to be delving into the big boys. Not all of them, but some of them. The Flatwoods Monster is one of the more notable cryptids. So, without further ado, let's begin. We are going to hop into our little van, our little cryptid podcast van, and we're going to take a trip back to West Virginia.
Thank you, man. I hate it here.
To start us off, let's answer the question, what is a Flatwoods Monster? Now, makes it easier for me to read.
Wait. What do you mean A? Are you alluding to the fact that there's multiple?
Let's see. The Flatwoods Monster is about 10 feet tall and 4 feet wide, with an almost metallic suit comprising of its body. It bears a cowl in the shape of an ace of spades and has 2 bright glowing orange spotlights for eyes.
Oh.
This thing is tall, dark, and mysterious. And as you see, that drawing that I sent in, audio listeners, love you to death. There's a man drawn next to the Flatwoods Monster, and the Flatwoods Monster is towering over it. The Flatwoods Monster, it's very fun monster to get into. And as for our case files, I do have 2, but one is far more detailed because there's only one story that really matters. The second one is just to add context. So if you guys would, let us begin the tale of the Flatwoods Monster. At 7:15 p.m. on September 12th, 1952, 3 boys witnessed a bright object cross the sky. The object came to rest on land belonging to a local farmer. Once they saw the thing land, the boys went to one of their houses, where they reported seeing a UFO crash land in the hills. From there, the boys and a group of locals went to the farm to try and find whatever it was that the boys had seen. One of the locals' dog ran ahead out of sight, starting to bark insistently. Moments later, the dog ran back to the group with its tail between its legs. After traveling about 1/4 of a mile, the group reached the top of a hill where they reportedly saw a large pulsating ball of fire about 50 feet away. They also saw and smelt a mist that made their eyes and nose burn. A farmer then noticed 2 small lights over to the left of the object and directed his flashlight towards them, revealing the creature, which was reported to have emitted a shrill hissing noise before gliding towards them, changing directions, and then heading off towards the red fiery light. At this point, the group fled in a panic.
Whoa. Okay, so this is definitely more alien feeling almost. This like aside from the abbreviation UFO being used, which for those uncommon users of abbreviations that have to do with paranormal,
for those who don't know
military,
what an acronym is,
yeah, those
so the second
things.
graders in the call.
Hey, it's not second graders. If you're not into the paranormal, you wouldn't
I'm
really
literally
think of
right
what a
here,
UFO
bro.
is. Because when I wasn't acquainted with the term UFO, I thought UFO just meant flying saucer. UFO is unidentified object, for those
Yeah,
of
no.
you who don't know. But this still feels like really, really alien-esque, even aside from that, because like just the imagining of like, countryside, something hits the ground, pulsating, glowing like meteor or something, and then you hear like a and there's just loud hissing.
And I will remind you guys that this thing is 10 feet tall. And reports even say that it can get as tall as 14. So this thing,
14,
that's just the guess of how tall this thing is.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
This thing is either
Dude.
growing or people's fear are
No, it's not
kicking in,
growing.
or
It's
So-
that's the general estimate. If I look at something like, if I looked at a bear that was running at me on 2 feet, I wouldn't like stop and bust out a tape measure. I'd be like, that's like an 8-foot tall bear that's about to kill me, and then I run. Upon returning home, the mother contacted the local sheriff and news reporter. The reporter conducted a number of interviews and returned to the site with the farmer later that night, where he reported that, quote, there was a sickening burnt metallic odor still prevailing, end quote. The sheriff and his deputies searched the area separately but found no trace of the encounter. So, whatever crashed into that field that night was gone when they went to go look for it. And I might be reading a little too deep into it, but that also implicates that there was no crater. There was no nothing.
what year was this?
1958.
So
No,
19
1952.
okay,
1952. I answered too fast.
Okay, because I was gonna say, like, did they not take pictures of the crater? But no, this is plausible. Not everybody had cameras in 1952.
And even
We're
if they
talking, like-
did, it's like they wouldn't have it when they went out to go search for this thing.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you're telling me that you wouldn't go the morning after to go see if the crater was still there from where this thing landed? I'm chalking it up to this thing crashed and people were just like, nah, unless.
Funny you say that. Early next morning, the reporter visited the site of the encounter for a second time and discovered 2 tracks in the mud, as well as traces of a thick, black liquid. He immediately reported them as being possible signs of a saucer landing, based on the premise that the area had not been subjected to traffic for at least a year. It was later revealed that the tracks were likely to have been those of a Chevrolet pickup truck, driven by a local who had gone to the site to look for the creature. After the event, investigators associated with civilian saucer investigation obtained a number of accounts from witnesses who claimed to have experienced a similar or related phenomenon. These accounts include the story of a mother and her 21-year-old daughter who claimed to have encountered a creature with the same appearance and odor a week prior to the September 12th incident. The encounter reportedly affected the daughter so bad she was confined to a hospital for 3 weeks. Also gathered was a statement from the mother of the local farmer in which she said that at the approximate time of the crash, her house had been violently shaken and her radio had cut out for 45 minutes. Lastly, a report from the director of the local board of education in which he claimed to have seen a flying object take off at 6:30 in the morning on September 13th, the morning after the creature was sighted.
Ooh, okay. So, did it specifically say flying saucer?
Yes.
Now we're getting into hard-felt territory. So, I wouldn't say I'm exactly a specialist in the flying saucer territory, but everybody knows the Roswell crash, right? A little more. I've gotten my sticky little paranormal investigator hands into a bit more niche stuff, and flying saucers vary from everything, from like big metallic objects to undiscernible triangles, like the Phoenix flying saucers. If anybody's seen those, they kind of look like stars and they follow each other and they're in a triangle, whatever.
Yeah.
The point that I'm making here, though, is that this thing came down, glowing ball, now there's a flying saucer. I don't know about that, at least from the reporter guy. I feel like just separate from the story, out of context, that just kind of seems iffy.
Okay, so I have a few questions.
Go for it.
When they went and investigated the crash again, you said that there was nothing there.
There was no evidence left.
So there was no crater whatsoever?
Yeah, no crater.
Okay, and when they went back to the site, did the site mean where it crashed or where they encountered the creature?
They went to the, well, that would be the same place.
Well, then what was the red light that the creature was going to? Because it sounds like the red light was off in the distance.
From what it sounds like it was turning around and heading back to the spacecraft that probably would have fallen.
Well, yeah, that's what I am assuming. But was it in the distance? Is what I'm wondering.
It wasn't like on the horizon, if that's what you're wondering. It was more like the creature appeared, went towards the group of like people, and then it started heading back towards where it came from, and they ran away because it was, let's be honest, freaky as.
So these people were attacked.
They weren't attacked
by the creature. Okay, well they were charged though.
I feel like if the Flatwoods monster wanted them dead, and you'll hear this a lot, but they probably would have been dead because the thing went towards them, stopped, and then it turned away. So that was the first case file. Probably the most important one, as that was the first recorded sighting, and it does also establish a firm timeline that this thing appeared, was here for 3 days, and then was gone. And there are no other sightings of it from outside of that. But we have some extra information given to us by another local.
Sick, let's go for it.
Another sighting of a creature similar in description to the Flatwoods monster was reported by Miss Audra Harper not long before the infamous sighting on the Fisher farm. Harper claims to have seen the monster while walking through the woods near her home in the town of Heaters. Harper and her friends were walking to a nearby store. The road leading out of their property was implaceable and rutted, so they were taking a shortcut through the forest instead of walking on the road, which would have increased their trip significantly. About a half mile into their trip, they noticed a ball of fire on one of the hills they were passing. Harper dismissed it, assuming that one of her neighbors were fox chasing. I feel like that's a good point to kind of call out exactly what you're thinking, JC.
I'm sorry. Okay, so ball of fire, and they were just like, man, must be the neighbor back at, good old Jim. You know good old Jim chasing those foxes with his good old like railgun that's loaded with a magazine of fireballs.
You know how Jimmy likes to take a blowtorch to them foxes. When she glanced back, she saw something unbelievable. The fire had vanished, and in its place stood the tall, dark silhouette of a man-shaped figure, bearing a cowl in the shape of the Ace of Spades. Terrified, Harper and her friend ran, escaping among the rocks and boulders strewn along the hillside, narrowly escaping the clutches of whatever they saw. And that's the end of the second story. A fairly uneventful ending, but I think it's important to note that the significance of this story is to implicate that the Flatwoods monster wasn't just a one-time frame thing. Whatever it was doing, it was here and around.
Okay. So
yeah, but who's to say that was the Flatwoods monster? Because they said it was a
same
silhouette of a man.
The Flatwoods monster is a silhouette of a man.
Because they were heading home at night, right? Or was this a daytime thing?
Night, yes.
Yeah, right. Because they said that the neighbor was fox hunting. So this implies one of two things: either the Flatwoods monster has a partner in crime, and there's multiple of these things, and this one got spotted. Or the Flatwoods monster landed in a different area completely separate to the first area that it landed in. In either case, though, that this thing only was spotted twice in this year, correct?
Yes. It was only spotted twice within this, it was spotted a couple times, but it was all within this specific frame of time, meaning like, unlike Mothman, where it's like, oh, this is the general time frame in which it was around, or Lizardman, where, oh, this is the general time frame of which it was around. This was here, and then it was gone.
Okay, so this feels pretty credible, dude. Just off the bat, this is starting to feel a lot more credible than Mothman or Lizardman.
I mean, especially with all the stuff with UFOs that's been coming out from the government and stuff like that. Yeah, it honestly, this one is a lot more believable.
So some of the members of the groups suffered from throat irritation, vomiting, and nausea, which persisted for days after encountering the Flatwoods monster. These symptoms specifically were passed off as a side effect of hysteria, which, okay. it's worth noting that those are specific symptoms of like exposure to mustard gas. So like those specific symptoms.
There you go, dude. I mean, this is not only is it an alien ship, the ship is technically made of an alien substance.
It's a chemical bioweapon.
I mean, dude, it could be.
Could you imagine like flying an airplane made of napalm?
Dude, what if it's worse? What if the Flatwoods monster is a massive cover-up for like Nazis that got into America and they crashed a plane full of mustard gas that they were trying to deliver, and they were just like, let's just cover this up.
That's the equivalent of having a spaceship that's depressurized, and then like the aliens come out and it's like, oh, what was their air? Anthrax. It's like, okay.
You know what? I actually just had a thought, and that kind of like made me even want to say it even more when you said that, Todd. What if what they're wearing is a spacesuit? You remember how you were saying there was a black liquid on the ground? What if that wasn't from the ship? No, what if it got like slashed by something in the crash? Well, they said, and its suit got ripped open, and what if it's what if like what it breathes, dude, could be like a noxious gas to us?
That's possible. That's entirely possible.
Well, they said that black liquid was later on to be motor oil.
No, they didn't.
Really?
I think that's what, because they said that it came from a truck that somebody was looking around.
No, that was the tracks.
I thought, oh, that was tire tracks? I thought they said that the black liquid was linked to the truck driving through there. And so I figured, motor oil, maybe.
It's possible.
Old truck.
It's possible. I mean, they didn't really experiment with it. They were like, huh, black liquid. Yeah. Well, it's not killing me. So, and then they walked away. With that, let us delve into the active theories. These are a lot shorter than, the other ones where I gave you a little narration with the theories. I'm just going to drop the ideas and you guys tell me what you think of them. All right.
All right.
Okay. The first theory is the one that is immediately prevalent and the first thing that all of you went straight to. And that is that the Flatwoods monster is an alien. And that the suit that it was allegedly wearing, as Brendan said, was or could have been a spacesuit of some kind to help them deal with our atmosphere.
I'm leaning into this pretty heavily. Yeah, I definitely think it could totally be an alien. I don't see it being anything else. I feel like it's really hard to say that it would be anything else. I mean, demons have never been.
Well, we got 3 more, buckaroo, so buckle up.
No, Todd. I think we cut. I think we cut the theories short here. I think we can conclude that it's an alien.
Here's actually the crazy part. All of these theories are actually equally as credible. The next one is an expansion of the last theory, whereas this theory is that instead of it being an oh my god,
before you say that, I'm sorry, but you said it's an extension of the last theory. So like, isn't that in the sense the same theory?
No.
Okay, sorry then. Sorry, continue.
I mean, if you heard the theory, you would know. So the first theory was that it was an alien in a spacesuit. The second theory is that rather than it being an alien, that the UFO was an unmanned drone, and that the creature that emerged from it was instead an android of some kind.
Okay. Okay. So that's not a bad theory. I thought, you'd be like, oh, these are credible. And then you were going to leave the next one. So the lizard people have sent a robot. I was expecting something of
the Daleks. I think given its appearance, I think that is it's working. It's working it's doing something for me.
Yeah, it's
pause.
That's unpause. But no, man, it's rubbing me the right way.
Oh, pause.
Unpause, man. Fast forward, man.
Yeah, I agree. Fast forward. Brendan?
Like remember how I was saying earlier about like them inhaling like smoke from the ship or something?
Mustard gas.
I mean, hell, what if that was like the energy source in the ship that was keeping the drone alive?
It's like
that was like what was charging it, and that was like the battery getting destroyed, and they inhaled that.
When we drive a car, would you like to stick your lips on the exhaust pipe and just sucking that in? That was not a grammatically correct sentence, but I don't care. That is not. I think since it is a spacecraft, it should have a more intense fuel source. That's besides the point. The next theory is that the Flatwoods monster instead is a demon of some kind. So the theory goes that it is a demon that has breached forth from another dimension, as such explaining the ball of fire in which it came from, the lack of a crater, and its otherworldly appearance.
All right, I think everyone who has listened to this one is going to be looking at me as a traitor, but I believe this one to be the most plausible. I know, right? I know. And here's the reason why I believe this one to be the most plausible. Because if this were to be like a portal of some kind, even though it was only open for a few seconds, there is a possibility that it was able to let in some of the air that is in hell or wherever it was from. And maybe
For layman's terms, we'll say hell. Let's ignore religion in this whole debate.
Yeah. I would assume if you learn a technique that allows you to teleport via fire, that place has got to be somewhat kind of hot. I don't know why, but that is just the first thought that comes into my head. Because like, if you ever played like, I mean, think about it, dude. I know this sounds really dumb, but like, if you ever played like Wizard 101, bro, the fire school's in a fire area, man. I know that's a really dumb comparison, but I feel like
I'm not gonna lie, that is a pretty dumb comparison.
I know it is. I'm sorry, but it's a really dumb comparison. But I kind of feel like that place would be very hot. Maybe the atmosphere isn't all that nice. I mean, that would explain why they have to wear that suit.
I'm gonna take a bite out of Brendan's sandwich here. I'm gonna look at this objectively and not from a religion perspective. So let's say we bite into this theory as sure it's a demon. So it comes through this like boom tomb / like teleportation type method. Looking back at it, maybe they were looking into the other side, and this boom tube kind of has a fiery kind of look to it. The only thing that feels like it really adds to this is the fact that they said there was only this burning metallic-y smell, and what else is really metallic-y? Blood. Blood has a really like metal, almost iron like smell to it. So if we're kind of going to this like layman's term place of a hell, then yeah, there would definitely be a bloody smell to this. It would be noxious. It would be very upsetting, obviously, to the human body, because I assume nobody here likes the smell of blood.
Before I get into the last theory, I want to clarify that in all the episodes up till now, I've sort of ignored the skeptic aspect of the cryptids that we've covered, and I feel like that's a little negligent. So I'm going to start presenting with each cryptid a rational, feasible theory as to what it could be explained as, just so that we have that other lens to look through. The last theory is that it was a military weapon being tested, and the descriptions of the monster and the noises and the liquid all was mass hysteria causing hallucinations, and the things that people were breathing was in fact mustard gas. That's a little wordy, but you get the idea. It was a military weapon test that went awry.
Interesting.
Now,
okay, definitely skeptical. For the most sense, definitely a skeptical.
Skeptical of the rational take on my monster podcast. Really, let's go.
I don't know if I really like this one, guys. I'm gonna have to.
I think it's a bit far fetched. Yeah, I like the floating carrot.
I don't know. I feel like
theory number 5. It was just a floating vegetable.
In my opinion,
a turnip.
When the government is experimenting on something, they're gonna be pretty secretive about it. And like, even if it were to go awry, man, I don't think they would make it something. I don't think the room for error would be as massive to where people could see this thing with this kind of.
Well, that's the thing. The idea isn't that it's a military drone. It's that like they were firing cannons or something. There was a crater. People went to investigate. There was mustard gas. They were like firing mustard gas or something. And that the eyes of the Flatwood monster were like the flashlights of the military men.
Oh, interesting. Because if that were the case, then how would they be able to get a description of the
mass hysteria is the explanation for that. Is that the chemicals that were in their eyes, the gas masks that the soldiers were wearing, the flashlights, the panic and hysteria of it, the possible mistaking of like a Jeep or something like that for metallic noises. It's all, and the tire tracks, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, true, actually.
The main idea is that, like, while I like the other theories better, I have to present the more rational explanations. Now, with that being said, to round out our active theories, which theory do you think is the most credible? JC, let's start with you because you've been the quietest through this whole podcast.
So I think in my eyes, the most credible source out of all these stories, these evidence, these theories. That's the word I'm looking for.
The Grimblies, the Tales, the Fairy Wallops.
I believe that it is the alien. The alien one makes the most sense to me. Observing, actually, not a complete 180. I'm gonna hit a 45-degree angle on this one. The alien drone. It makes the most sense to me. Nothing organic usually puts itself in anything metallic. I feel like even if it was an extraterrestrial, or even if it was just an alien, something that we're not
hoverboard
familiar with.
What if it was a hoverboard?
Yeah, it was floating.
Dude, this thing.
That shouldn't have been that funny. I'm sorry.
No, it was. Like this. What if it was? I'd be riding that shit.
I mean, yeah, maybe. But this thing, let's keep in mind with the alien drone theory, this thing is completely covered in metal, gauntlets and all. It's got the circular head and this Ace of Spades thing behind it. They say it was a
This
cowl,
is the 8th time we've described this thing during the podcast.
It could have been anything else. Like, it totally could have been like a helmet and you were only recognizing like the back of it. There could have been like glass in the front of it. Nobody took like a real thorough look at this thing. Everybody kept running away.
Yeah. Which I think was a good idea given the mustard gas. So
I don't blame them given that they were like, they got out of there and then immediately just started like dying in every possible way. Not quite literally dying, but like, throwing up, burning eyes through, burning throat. Definitely feels like an alien drone kind of thing. Like, this thing hit Earth. It hit a repellent. Nothing living would want to breathe that, and then it zoomed off and began scanning kind of just the bio material around it.
Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, after hearing the military one, that one sounded really, really intriguing to me, and that's what was kind of catching me there for a little bit, because you're right, it's like, the gas probably could cause some mass hysteria and made some people see things that were not real. I really liked the alien theory at first too. I thought that one was pretty good, but I think I'm gonna have to finally end off with because I really like the demon one. I really like the demon one.
Really?
Yeah. I know.
You know what?
I really liked that one. I thought that one was gonna be the most plausible because that did explain the lack of the crater. Because, like, could you imagine, like, granted they would have some pretty advanced technology, but could you imagine the technology to repair the damages that they caused, dude?
Yeah, like there was no excavation, no nothing. It was just no crater.
That would be like some creative mode shit right there, dude.
Well, funny enough, my answer also starts with a D. I think it was a dinosaur sent here from the prehistoric times through a ripple in time, and that would explain its little raptor-like claws. The fact that you guys have taken me seriously for this long is concerning. No, I'm a big fan of the demon. I'm a big fan of the demon.
They can't see my face. Who said I was taking you seriously? I had jaw on the floor for that one.
Yeah, because he was so enthralled by the dinosaur theory. JC really believes in dinosaurs, by the way, guys.
I do. I believe dragons were existent at one point in time.
Yeah, the Komodo one. So the demons, I think, just makes the most sense. I'm a huge fan of it because, frankly, I like aliens, but I sort of have this preconceived notion, which also we're going to tackle aliens a lot on this podcast, so get ready. But I'm personally, interdimensional being is where I'm at with this. So I'll stick with that. Fucking ET with mustard gas. Let's go. All right. So with that and that wackiness out of the way, let's delve into our categories, shall we?
Sick. Let's get them.
All right.
Let's do it.
Starting at the top of it. Do we like this monster? Do we like this cryptid?
I really like it. This whole, like, I don't even know where to begin with it, but this whole, like, Transformers-y or, like, metallic-y robot drone-looking thing, this thing is really, really cool, like, just in concept. Just to see something like this would be a really cool experience. Although terrifying, really cool. I like it a lot.
So we've already clarified, I like almost every cryptid, and this especially has a place in my heart. I knew I wanted to do the Flatwoods monster from day one after we tackled Mothman, because, West Virginia. Yeah, so I'm a huge fan of the Flatwoods monster, and I would definitely like to tackle it in a bonus episode to go a bit more in depth into our thoughts and theories. But I'll leave that at that.
I'd be interested.
Brendan? He's gonna break the
You
chain.
know-
He's gonna break the chain that. Oh, I was gonna say a naughty word.
Honestly, this is a real tough one for me. I don't know why this one, because Mothman was really easy to decide, because obviously I hate moths, you know, easy. Lizardman, you guys, come on. Do I even have to?
We're not going
I
back
don't
into
have to
this.
say anything
Also,
about
I
that. No,
want to
we're
say
not.
in the post, Brendan was a bitch. He 180'd after the recording ended. He 180'd and said that it wasn't real. Don't listen to a word this snake says.
Wow. Honestly, no.
You don't like it? I know I keep getting like
No.
astonished every single episode, but it's like these are all serious. Like I'm seriously like, you don't like this thing? It's so
That's kinda
cool
crazy.
though.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's cool. It's got some really cool qualities and stuff. I just like it doesn't have a lot of information to go off of, you know.
I
and feel
gave
like
you
I
the
can't-
longest story out of
You
all of the
did,
cryptids.
You did. Don't get me
There
wrong.
is
but,
so
like,
much
with the
more
other ones, we
information
had
than Lizard
multiple
Man.
Stories.
Dude, we
And,
got
like-
President of Yapping Yapperton right here. Guys, I found
This
it.
had more stories than
Bro.
Mothman.
Bro, I don't know, man. I just wasn't a big fan of him.
Yeah.
I don't like the
yo.
design. Like the stories weren't really all that compelling to
Dude,
me, you know.
you-
it was just-
You are lying out of your ass right now because you want to be different. You were enthralled by the stories. They don't know that I can see you. You were in this.
Okay, so see, I don't know why you keep trying to feed our viewers lies, Todd.
Dude, you're the one who's like the. Okay, you know what?
No, I don't.
I'm
really
moving on.
think-
I'm
no,
moving on. You
okay,
don't
no,
like it because you
I
don't
think
like
our
fun.
No,
You don't
no,
like
I don't
fun.
think our viewers are gonna like that. You're
I get it.
trying
Brendan
to-
likes coming home from his 8-hour shift at wherever the hell he works and likes watching paint dry. It's all right, viewers. We get it.
This guy was actively poking holes in the theories as we were saying them and then said that he didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess then again, that feeds both ways. One, he's being a skeptic. He's definitely feeling like he was dragged into this. I'm giving credit back to the biography of this podcast.
Let's go on to our next category. I'm genuinely angry at that. I've never gotten angry at one of your guys' opinions before. I'm genuinely mad now. Dude, I'm never doing anything for you again, Brendan. Get to the f***ing treasure hunt. This is the category where Brendan and JC go and find the most obscure piece of cryptid merchandise for this monster. Tonight, your f***ing criteria is the Flatwoods monster. Ready, set, go. 3 minutes. So we're gonna have JC. Brendan went first last. I'm gonna have you go first this time. All right. Present your item.
Me, right?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. So I was debating between a sexy art drawing of the Flatwoods monster, but I found something much better, and that is a tapestry with the Flatwoods monster anatomy.
Ooh,
Ooh.
that is pretty cool.
Yee.
That is pretty cool. This is, you see, this is why it pays to watch our video podcast. Link not in the description. Find us on YouTube at Cryptid Zoo.
Watch the podcast 2 times in a row, please.
Yeah, please. We need the
Yes.
exposure. Brendan, you're gonna need a tough nut in order to crack this.
All right. Well, you know, to be honest with you guys, I found mine pretty quick. You know, it was really quick. I thought this one would be perfect. I thought it was unique. I was honestly really hoping JC wouldn't pick this one because I had a feeling JC, if he saw this one, he'd pick it. But I decided to go with this nice onesie of the Flatwoods monster.
Ooh.
That is a pretty nice one.
It calls it an alien, but it came up when I typed in Flatwoods monster. So
No, yeah.
You know, for $26, I'd buy that as a onesie wear.
Yeah, that is
I'd
it.
buy that.
All right. Now, as the judge, I have to decide between the two products presented. If I had to decide between these two, between their uniqueness and their versatility, their creativity, I'm going to go with the tapestry.
Let's go, baby. JC, 2 wins in a row.
Back to back.
Getting stomped on. Gooba stomp. Massive W for me. Easy. Let me type this in chat. Easy. All right,
And
thanks.
as per usual, JC continues his streak of being a poor sport. Moving on to our next category, encounter. JC, Brendan, you're sitting there in the middle of the woods until you see this bright ball of fire appear right in front of you. Out from it emerges this tall, 12-foot creature made entirely of metal with these bright glowing eyes as it starts hovering towards you. Fast. What do you do?
I think what I would do is I would probably take a flamethrower to it. And then once I realize that the flamethrower is ineffective, I'd probably get mauled to death.
All right. As you
Didn't
take
think that through.
you light it on fire, it goes right through it, grabs your skull, crushes it with its hand. You're dead.
Yep. See that? Yeah. I didn't really think that through, because it showed up in a ball of fire. Why did I?
JC.
Damn you, hindsight!
I got you. Check this one. I've been preparing for this one. It's dashing after me, and as it grips me, it realizes I'm covered in 5 layers of Dawn dish soap, extra strong. It slips, and I escape from its grasp and proceed to slide to safety to the nearest town.
You know what? I'm gonna give that one to you. It tries to hover after you, but you're sliding too fast.
Sliding too quickly.
You got downhill momentum. You're doing good.
Yeah.
That was good. That was good, Snappy. Next category. The moment you guys have been waiting for. The return of Death Battle. We're going to pit this thing up against the Lizard Man and Mothman. Not at the same time, but just in general. Who do you think wins in this hypothetical fight? And then where do you think we place him on the totem pole of cryptids?
Comparing him to... I'm going to start off with Mothman, because Mothman was the first entry in our list. I'd say Mothman is quite inferior to this thing.
I'd say Mothman's getting slammed.
I would agree. Mothman is definitely getting slammed.
The mustard gas alone will take it out.
Exactly. I feel like Lizard Man might put up a little bit more of a fight, but I still feel like Lizard Man will also get stomped. Definitely putting up more of a fight than Mothman, though.
I'm also going to say, I initially thought that the Flatwoods monster was going to be humbled like really quickly by Lizard Man. I was like, maybe he can take Mothman. But then I like started researching it and I was like, oh no, this thing is actually a floating tank. Lizard Man doesn't stand a chance. So I think we are all in agreement. The Flatwoods monster is the apex.
Dude, it's stomping pretty hard. I'd say right now Lizard Man has a 2% chance. We're talking like this thing slips up and Lizard Man tears through, but even then it's breathing in that mustard gas and just keeling over and dying.
I don't even think it has a 2%. I don't think Lizard Man has the AP to be able to damage it.
Well, we gotta realize too, though, guys, we don't even know where the mustard gas comes from.
Well, no,
either way,
from the portal or them.
Well, let's just give it its claws and its metal. It's got it's got high durability and it's got razor sharp claws, so it can do anything the Lizard Man can do, but better. Just not faster.
It's probably got high mobility.
Yeah, maybe not faster, but it can fly. It's the best of both of them.
And if the burst of fire isn't just an appearance thing, and it's like a shockwave from teleporting, can you imagine Lizard Man or Mothman's trying to get the high grounds on this thing, and this thing just teleports on it, just obliterates whatever's in range of that fireball.
Well, the rules of Death Battle is that we give it what it has been accredited with being able to do, and as such, we can give it fire and chemical warfare, along with some decent strength feats inferred by its size. And as such, I think we're all in agreement that the Flatwoods monster is the reigning apex for now.
Yeah.
Easily.
And I think that brings us down to our last category. Question we've been wondering ever since the beginning of this podcast. Could it be real? After everything you've heard, after all the accounts, what are your thoughts? I'm going to go with Brendan first. Because apparently for someone who doesn't like this story, certainly you don't think it's real, right?
Well, Todd, you're really going to hate my answer. I think this thing is real.
Mother, I am not doing this shit again.
You might not like it.
I've composed myself. I will never lose my cool again. I apologize. Brendan, please give us your explanation.
And I do think it's real because I think the description of this thing is way too abstract and far-fetched for it to just to get this kind of description to be you had to have seen something like this, It's
a bit too specific, is what you're saying.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Thank you. I totally but yeah, no, it's way too specific.
I think it's real. I
You
think it's extremely real. This thing has got so much credibility and like detailed structure to it. Whether hallucination or not, I think this thing happened. People saw it. It was a thing that people experienced. I mean, it's this thing has really given me some feasible evidence to work with, and I like it. It feels like something that could genuinely happen. I could genuinely picture an alien or some extra dimensional creature blipping into this reality, looking around. Oh snap! There's living things. They're running away. And then it's moving around. It blips out of there. So I'm feeling this.
And JC is breaking the streak of not believing in anything for 2 whole episodes, proving that he is the most cold-hearted of all the Cryptid crew members. Yeah, I'm gonna cut that bit. So, all right. Well, then, as the last remaining member, I am going to go out and saying, having compiled all the information, having done all the research, I had my answer before I even started. I think it's real. I know it's real. I'm going to dial it back. I don't think I know it's real. I haven't seen it, but I do genuinely believe that it exists. I am a bigger fan of the interdimensional being idea, as I have my own picture of aliens, and I don't think it fits. Not far from it, but it doesn't fully fit. And personally, I don't think other dimensions are discussed nearly enough. So we are going to round out the episode with that. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching episode 3 of Cryptid Zoo. We've been having a lot of fun making it. At least I hope they are. They seemed infatuated with this episode, which is good, because that's what we're hoping for.
I kind of hate it, actually.
Yeah, clearly. So, and please come back next week when we tackle the Michigan Dog Man. See you later. Bye, guys.